Most of the hedgerows have lost their leaves now. There's berries to be found, so lots of berries for winter, for birds. And you can kind of see how the hedgerows have grown out. So in here you can see there's the ditch right down at the back, and there's the original tree line back there. So we do need to cut quite a lot of this back, and actually it helps because it creates a denser thicket for birds to nest in. We've got a lot of rooks and a lot of magpies around here, which will just decimate bird numbers if they can get to nest. So actually creating really tightly knit hedges is a good thing. And you can see all of these hedges come out by at least a metre and a half than where they were originally done. So we will be looking at compacting those hedgerows in the future. So we have got a lot of junk that's been left here. I think most of it was left over from when the chap that we sold the farm buildings to did up the houses, so he's just kind of put them here. I need to check with him whether it's okay for us to kind of ransack it, but it is on our land. So obviously this, like, where is it? I've lost it now. This here is an old tractor cab. You can just kind of make it out. But yeah, there's a lot of useful things here. So there's some wood, there's a tyre that we brought up. There's quite a lot of corrugated iron pieces there and here. I love how nature just takes over things. So the fact that nature's kind of reclaimed this is kind of cool. But yeah, we need to sort through this pile and then work out what we can use. Most of it is roofing tiles, but I'm sure I can find something interesting to do with them. Hello and welcome to Brimwood Farm, and it's almost the end of the year, which means it's the perfect time to revisit all the farm work and conservation stuff that we've done over the past year and just see what we've done and reflect on how far we've come, because sometimes it can feel like not a lot is getting done, especially when we can't get here that often. But coming up is all the things that we've worked on this year. So one of the established and ongoing conservation areas that we've been working on this year is the wildflower meadow. So we're out here in the main patch, and this is the meadow here, and you can see our tenant farmer has come along and he's cut down quite a lot of the excess around the periphery, and that's mostly because they are full of weeds. So there's thistles and dock and things like that, which, yes, they all have their place if you're rewilding an area, or whether you're bringing some wildflower meadowy stuff in. But I don't want too much, because I want this section, which is the main wildflower meadow section, to thrive. It's worked really well because it started to spread its seed across into the rest of the field, which is why we cut it down, because we want to cut down all those vigorous weeds and we want to allow these wildflower meadows to set seed, and these wildflower meadow plants to set seed and for it to come across and start seeding and expanding across. This year we had our very first sighting of skylarks, and they came and they nested here. I never actually found the nest, don't know whether they actually successfully reared, but the fact that they are on the land nesting is a great thing. And then over this winter we'll also establish our magnolia tree around here. So this project, although it's established and it's been here for now 3, 4, 5 years, it's an ongoing project. Our biodiversity studies have continued as well, so we've kept an eye on the creatures around here, and I'm glad to report that we have continued sightings of the buzzards, kestrels, barn owls, tawny owls, pheasants, lots of different species of little birds, blue-tips, robins, etc. We've also found several new species this year. So for the first time ever we saw stoat. We know that we now have muntjac and roe deer. We also have the frog spawn in the pond, so that's a sign that we've got breeding frogs, European frogs, and the skylarks in the wildflower meadow as well. So the study continues on all the different species. I'm sure there are lots and lots and lots of different species of animals, birds, insects, amphibians, that are all available and all on site that we just haven't seen yet. We'll be adding to that biodiversity listing, and you can, if you're interested in seeing that, that is available online. I will put a link just below and you can go and see, and we update it with sightings and things that we see constantly. So that's really, really exciting to see that the work that we are doing here is continuing to add to the wildlife biodiversity on the farm. And we've started our woodland finally. So we've got the first, I think 276 trees or something like that in at the other end of the wildflower meadow. They are in these lovely little sleeves to protect them from deer and rabbits and hare and things like that. But they are in and they will start to get going. A couple of my patrons have sponsored trees. A couple of you guys have sent me trees, and they're all getting added to this woodland, which is gonna obviously be a long-term project because trees naturally grow quite slowly, but we will see it starting to grow over the coming few years, creating a brand new habitat, creating a place where we can get renewable, sustainable fuel from, and adding to the entire farm landscape. So one of the first things that we began to tackle was one of the pond restorations. So earlier in the year, this area was completely swathed in blackthorn and brambles and all sorts of debris. So we've cleaned it out, and as you can see now, we actually have water in a pond. We have clear areas around the margins. This area has been planted up with primroses and foxgloves, and we'll continue to plant this up with stuff over the coming years. In the pond itself, we've got plants that were donated from Patreons. So we've got water mint, yellow flag iris, forget-me-not and water plantain. I'm going to put some lilies in there, some more irises, and very excitingly this year I actually came down and we found frog spawn. So I hadn't seen frog spawn for here in ages, and I came down and there was 2 or 3 massive lumps. Now I don't think the tadpoles survived because at that time the water was quite stagnant and the dry spring meant the water was also receding. I don't think there was anything for those tadpoles to eat. Next year I'm hoping that the frogs will return and we'll have created a better ecosystem for them. So hopefully we will get tadpoles. And I'm hoping also, now we've got a body of water that's got natural light coming in, isn't completely covered in debris and leaves, we'll also get some more insects come in, dragonflies and things like that. So the pond restoration is working really, really well. And as an offset of the pond restoration, we've also got this kind of nature insect area here with all of the offcuts of bits of wood and stuff. We will condense this into a larger pile of stuff to create a good sort of pond side habitat, but all is going well with the pond restoration project. We've also got multiple other projects, and if you are a patron, you will have seen the exclusive videos about these, talking about each individual area of the farm and the different things we're planning. But we're still doing the bluebell woodland, the planting of spring bulbs, not only to bring beauty but also to offer early nectar sources for emerging bees and things in the early spring. We've got various projects like this area, for example, is soon to become a market farm garden. So lots of other things going on. We're just trying to prioritise at the moment the places that we need to be done for when we move. So things like chicken tractors, things like the pheasantry, because we need to be able to move our current animals onto the land before we can really get started with everything else. So all in all, we've had a fantastic year at the farm, beginning new projects, carrying on with existing projects, and doing a hell of a lot of planning for 2020, which is the year we will be moving here and starting to properly farm. I'm really, really excited about that, the extra wildlife that we've found, just proving that we're doing the right thing, that trying to farm alongside nature here is going to be worthwhile, and we're going to create both habitats and ecosystems for creatures, but also hopefully create a good life for ourselves and the local community, and get people into organic, homegrown, sustainable food. I hope you've enjoyed following the journey with us, both at the Brimwood Farm urban homestead and also the work that we've been done here. And I hope you stay with us over the next chapter, because obviously we're going to be packing up and picking up over the homestead and moving here. So we're going to have the 45 acres. So we're going to be obviously bringing all the animals with us, but moving into sheep and cattle, the market farm garden, and there is just so much to come. I can't believe it's all happening and it's all come around this quickly. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and following our journey through to next year, and also hit that thumbs up button. If you're on Facebook, consider coming over to Brimwood Farm's community group and getting involved in the conversation. But I am going to say goodbye for now, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.